Let's also look at all the important global stories that we're tracking for you this morning. And the US economy grew 2.4% in the second quarter of 2023 as per the latest data, followed a 2% growth in the Jan to March period. Now, this comes on the back of strong consumer spending as well as government spending. At the same time, just last night, the Federal Reserve increased interest rates by 25 basis points. That was the night before. This was the 11th rate hike in its last 12 meetings, taking the benchmark interest rate to the 5.25 to 5.55% band. In his speech, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell hinted at another rate hike in the upcoming September meeting amid the central bank's battle against inflation. Here's what market expert Joff Dennis shares he had to say on these macro cues.
What's going on here is that I think the market is a little puzzled by what the Fed did, not what they did, but what they said. They've left everything very, very open. They would have liked a clearer jump, I think, on what could happen in September. But come what may, we are at or close to the peak in interest rates. Second point is that the economy continues to look really good as far as we're concerned, as far as I'm concerned, with a better than expected GDP number. So the chances of a soft landing here look better and better almost by the day as inflation's fallen sharply and it looks like we're near the peak in interest rates. And I think this is what's driving above all the improvement in risk equities over the last several weeks, not just, frankly, over the last few days.
All right, moving on then, ECB has also raised its benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points and shifted to a more neutral data-dependent stance. Now, this is the 9th time in a row that the central bank has lifted interest rates in order to rein in on stubborn inflation. Now, ECB President Christine Lagarde has also painted a gloomy picture on the economic front. Now, she said that the economic and inflation outlook remains highly uncertain and food and energy prices are potential upside risks to inflation. Listen in to that excerpt.
The Governing Council, therefore, today decided to raise the 3 key ECB interest rates by 25 basis points. The rate increase today reflects our assessment of the inflation outlook, the dynamics of underlying inflation, and the strength of monetary policy transmission. The developments since our last meeting support our expectation that inflation will drop further over the remainder of the year, but will stay above target for an extended period. While some measures show signs of easing, underlying inflation remains high overall. Our past rate increases continue to be transmitted forcefully. Financing conditions have tightened again and are increasingly dampening demand, which is an important factor in bringing inflation back to target. Our future decisions will ensure that the key ECB interest rates will be set at sufficiently restrictive levels for as long as necessary to achieve a timely return of inflation to our 2% medium-term target.
All right, let's keep it with central banks then. And Turkey's central bank expects inflation to hit 58% by this year. The new forecast seemed to be more than double the 22.3% outlined in the central bank's last inflation report. Meanwhile, Bank of Japan has hinted a hawkish stance as the bank will discuss tweaking its yield curve control policy at a board meeting to let long-term interest rates rise beyond the 0.5% cap.
And shares of global chipmaker Intel jumped 7% after the company delivered profit after 2 consecutive quarters of losses. The company has also gone ahead and issued a strong guidance, expects earnings of 20% share in Q3. Now, automaker Ford raised its 2023 guidance after robust quarterly earnings boosted by pricing and demand surge.
Shifting gears then, Sony Group has sold more than 40 million PlayStation 5 consoles in its gaming division. Sony's interactive CEO Jim Ryan cited supply chain issues which took months to normalize, also added that the PS5 supply is well stocked and they're seeing pent-up demand finally being met after months of disruption. The company expects to sell 25 million PS5 units this year, which would be a record for any PlayStation device.